Hello guys, this is Ankit Kumar Singh and I welcome you back to my YouTube channel. And as we all know, this video started with science stuff, and the channel's name is The Enlighteners. So in between we got to know that the enlightening stuff is not just always about science, it is about way of life. Okay, so we went on to motivating people and then giving you facts and thoughts of various kinds. But at the end, this channel has always been about science. And one question is there which has been unanswered on this channel. There was this video about antimatter, and that is the most expensive material on earth. And there was a question asked, and we never continued on that. So apologies for that. And I would like to continue on that. So this video is about antimatter part 2. So we got to know what antimatter is. Basically opposite of matter. Matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. Antimatter is the opposite of it, or maybe we can call it negative mass. So when it comes in contact with our matter, everything becomes null and void, zero. And we are producing antimatter a lot, and it takes lot of processes and very expensive processes to do so, and that is why it was the most expensive material on earth. But we don't know how it was made, right? We never discussed about in the previous video, which has been mentioned in the description below. Its link is there in the description below. So how do we make antimatter? The thing is, why do we have to make it in the first place? The thing is, we don't find antimatter anywhere. So we don't know where it is available, or we don't find it in our universe. As such, we haven't found any yet, so we have to make it so that we can study it. Science is always about study. There are things that you see and then you study about it to know more about it. Either you experiment on it or you observe it, but you do study about it. And we don't know anything about antimatter. The only thing which we know is, when antimatter comes in contact with the regular matter, annihilation takes place and energy is released. Okay, so what happens when that energy is released? Mass is turned into energy. So we make antimatter out of energy. In Large Hadron Collider, that is in LHC, lot of energy is converted into mass. We all know that mass can be converted into energy. A small example would be, for example, you take a log of wood and burn it. While you are burning it, the mass of wood is being turned into heat energy, the fire, and the ashes as well, and there are other processes involved. But at the end of the day, certain mass had been turned into energy. In that case, what happens is the reverse, that is the opposite, is also possible. The energy can also be converted back to mass. That is why Einstein gave his formula, E is equals to mc square, where mass and energy are directly proportional to each other. So if energy can be converted or brought into effect with mass, then the mass can also be made out of energy. So what happens over here is, a lot of energy is turned into mass. At Large Hadron Collider, lot of energy squeezed into one very, very, very small area during high energy particle collision. So more the amount of energy put into particle collision, larger the quantity of matter and antimatter, that is proton and antiproton, is produced. So when that amount of energy is created into matter, both matter and antimatter is created in equal proportionate amount. Now you might ask, LHC does a lot of energy related particle collision. So why don't we produce that much antimatter? The reason is, antimatter is produced, but they come in contact with the regular matter and annihilate then and there itself spontaneously without causing much effect. And this process is so fast that we are not able to catch those antiprotons. So what happens is, there is a decelerator used in LHC. So at that point of time, those protons are at the speed of light. So it is not easy to catch it. That is why a decelerator is used, and the speed is brought down so that it can be easily caught and stored for further study purposes. Just to give a number, about 4 of antiproton particles are produced in every million collision. You can see the numbers in between, just 4 out of every million. So the quantity of antimatter produced at CERN is very little. If I have to give a number, then only 1 divided by 1 billion grams is produced every year. So at this rate, if CERN uses all its accelerator and all its devices only to produce antimatter, then in this case, it will take 1 billion years at CERN with our current technology to produce 1 gram of antimatter. And if I were to give you an example, when the nuclear bomb, when the atom bomb was fired, Then out of 64 kgs of uranium available, only 7 kgs were pure uranium 235, and out of that only zero point 0.5 grams of uranium turned into pure energy. This example is given to give you a brief idea about that little amount of uranium, that is even less than zero point 0.5 grams, equivalent to zero point 0.5 grams, was turned into pure energy, and a lot of energy was produced. You have seen the nuclear blast, a lot of energy goes out. So imagine, more than that much of energy has to be stored every time to produce little bit of antimatter. So with the current technology that we have, the current amount of energy that we have to store, and all the process keeping in mind, will take a lot of year, effort, technology, machines, and time to produce just 1 gram of antimatter, leaving aside that it will take 1 billion years as well. And that is the reason why it is one of the most expensive material on earth. And I hope that I have answered the question, and if not, then we'll try making more videos about antimatter in future as well. And if you have liked this video, then please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and share it with your friends if you want to share some knowledge about astronomical stuff, or day-to-day life activities, let it be motivation or just fun facts. And that was it, guys. Thank you for watching this video, and as always, dhanyawad.